And we are back, folks, for another edition of the Michigan Recruiting Insider with one of the top-rated players in the entire country. That's what we do here on this show here this spring, because that's what they're doing down at Schembecker Hall, bringing the top prospects in the country day by day, week by week here this spring at an unprecedented level. Well, today is no exception, because Mr. Messiah Hampton, when I look at the rankings and I see a guy who has risen in the rankings by about 500 spots in the span of just a month, that tells you how severely underranked he was before that. They were sleeping, but they're not sleeping anymore. Mr. Messiah Hampton is with us right now. Messiah, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. Well, clearly, I say they were sleeping. I wasn't sleeping, because when I saw you, I said, man, this dude is a baller, right? Now, I think they saw you, a lot of people saw you down at, I think it was the Ann Arbor camp, and saw you doing your thing. That was part of the blow up. But watch your film, and it's clear, man, anybody who want smoke got smoke, and now all these schools see it too. I'm curious, how were you taking all of that? And what do you think about how you are ranked now?
I would say I never really tripped on rankings. Like, I believe everything is God's timing, so everything is perfect timing for me. So, I think I'm the best player in the country. The rankings don't say it, but they say I'm one of the best, but I believe I'm the best. But I don't really trip on rankings.
Now, does it ever enter your mind as fuel? Like you say you don't trip on it, but do you use it as something to motivate?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, as one of those things, as a proving ground, you take it out on the opponents. It's a hell of a thing to be out there and you running by all the competition. They don't know. I ain't do nothing to this man. And you out there and you're killing these guys left and right. When we watch you doing that, give me an idea of how you're doing what you're doing from a scouting report perspective. You're a coach or scouting the stands, you're watching Messiah Hampton on the field. Give us that skill set, that breakdown, like a coach or a scout in the stands would do.
Yeah, so I say, like, I'm a very smart route runner and receiver. Like, I know how to, like, manipulate DBs to make them think I'm doing what I'm not. I know I'm pretty good at tempo in my routes. So I would say that, like, I'm very good at tempo in my routes and just knowing where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be.
It felt like there were some early adopters, some schools that kind of saw you a while ago, that they were, like, up on it before, like over a year ago. Michigan, felt like Penn State, like some schools kind of saw you back then. What was it about you that everybody didn't necessarily see it so early? Was it like a New York thing? Why do you think it took some other people so long to kind of really realize that, hey man, you really are one of the best dudes in the country?
I would say, yeah, it was a New York thing. Like, they don't put respect on New York football. So me going out this year and playing, like, mainly down to Florida and down south and dominating, doing the same thing, now they can see, like, okay, this kid can really play, not just against New York competition or up north.
Mm-hmm. So height, weight, 40, where are you at now?
So I run a 4.49, and I'm about 6'1", 184 pounds.
So people love comparisons because it allows them to paint that mental picture a little better. So if we were to compare you to someone, or if we were to say, hey, you kind of try to pattern yourself or use guys as inspiration, who would you say you compare yourself to?
All right, so the 5 comparisons I got the most is I got Stephon Diggs, Jamar Chase, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Garrett Wilson, and Calvin Ridley.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you and threw a Michigan guy in there too, and DPJ, a guy we watched really come up. So you're playing football in New York, a place that doesn't get a lot of attention when it comes to the football scene, man, and trying to get seen and trying to get discovered. Man, when it comes to getting that exposure, how do you break out of that? Was it just one of those things where you just kept your nose down, kept grinding, didn't worry about all of that? How did you get around all that before going to the camps?
I would say, yeah, just head down grinding, knowing like my time gonna come. Like I said, everything is God's timing, perfect timing. So just believing my time gonna come. Just gotta keep putting in the work in the dark and just keep believing in myself.
So I mentioned the early adopters before you went out to the camps and all these schools started noticing. There were some schools that noticed you back then. So I'm curious to go back to that. How did you get on Michigan's radar? When did they originally notice you, and how did that happen?
So I say I'm not sure they originally noticed me, but I know how I earned my scholarship was I came down to camp and I basically dominated. Was in the first line of every drill, being a leader, breaking down the huddles, being very competitive, going out there dominating against DBs. So that's how I earned my scholarship here.
Yeah, so what made you camp at Michigan? Like, where did that come from? What made you choose Michigan to come camp at?
I always liked Michigan. My uncle lives here. This is his team. So ever since I was young, he always telling me, like, if I get the chance, go to Michigan, go to Michigan. So once I know I was being recruited by them, I'm like, I got to come to camp. I got to earn it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so you came to camp, earned the offer, smashed it, and so that's when you meet Ron Bellamy. So take me into that connection. Well, first of all, take me into earning an offer. I mean, you earned an offer at camp from Michigan. What was that like? What was your reaction? Take me into that moment.
Yeah, I was super excited, because my uncle was here. This is his first time ever seeing me play, so being able to dominate and go out there and perform in front of him, earn the offer, it was just like, man, I'm really doing it.
Yeah, and so then your relationship with Ron Bellamy begins. What's the vibe and connection like with him?
I would say me and him have a great vibe and connection. Me and him talk on the phone all the time about football, about life, about like we friends. We talk about spiritual stuff, so I would say our connection is very deep.
Yeah, and so then it goes beyond the position coach, though, because you got to get to know the other coaches as well. What about Coach Moore?
Yeah, Coach Moore, he a black coach, so he looked like me. Been through a lot of stuff that I've been through and I'm going to go through, so I can relate to him on a different level that you won't be able to relate to a lot of different head coaches on, so that's big.
Mm-hmm. And then, but here's the other thing, Messiah, and I talked to just receivers about this. When you look at Michigan, they're coming off a year where it was tough offensively. The quarterback situation wasn't what it is now, right? And then so they've changed offensive coordinators. Obviously, they went out and got Bryce Underwood, and they are charting a different course for what their offense is going to be. They're saying they're going to throw the ball more. They're going to have more of a passing offense moving forward. I'm curious how did that affect your outlook for Michigan? Because they didn't necessarily throw it a lot last year. Did that change how you looked at Michigan, and how do you look at them now?
I'd say definitely changed. Like, it was a huge booster, being in a receiver-friendly offense. That's every receiver dream. Like, of course, you want to block, but you don't just want to block 98% of the whole game. So just going out there yesterday, seeing Bryce throw it around, Coach Lindsey drawing it up, and them taking shots down the field, throwing the ball all the time, definitely made me happy.
Yeah, so Coach Lindsey, you just gave me the segue that I was looking for. What have been your impressions of Coach Lindsey so far? First, just as a guy, as a coach, sitting down, getting a chance to talk to him, what do you think of Coach Lindsey?
I think he definitely knows football, definitely a lot. He a great dude, seemed like a very genuine, down-to-earth person, and that's what you look for.
All right, so then what he's saying about the offense. Tell me what they've kind of laid out as far as what it's going to look like, and then what do you think about the direction that it's going?
Yeah, they basically said they're going to take a lot of shots, pass the ball around a lot. I think the direction of the offense in Michigan is going up. I feel like they're going to have a great season this year. I've been to a few other spring practices and just one and done. Like, it look amazing out there.
Mm-hmm. And so when you saw that Bryce Underwood decided to flip from LSU, I mean, how did that hit you? Were you surprised by that? Did that change your outlook as far as Michigan was concerned?
Yeah, of course. You know, he the #1 player, the #1 quarterback, generational talent. And then being able to see him today, it's like, who wouldn't want to play with him?
So have you gotten a chance to interact with him at all?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think of him as a dude?
Yeah, he a great dude. Me and him chopped it up a lot. My quarterback, Trey, them two, like, they know each other, so just seeing them play around and stuff, like, he one of us. He just like me. So.
I got you. All right. So now, as you sort of draw and look big picture at Michigan, give me an idea of what you like most about Michigan at this point. And then, like I ask every guy, what do you still have? What's your biggest question about them at this point?
I say I like just about everything about Michigan. You know, I believe they got Tier 1 facilities, Tier 1 people, Tier 1 programs. Like, we was going through a whole bunch of presentation and stuff yesterday. Like, everything was just perfect. Like, facilities amazing, recovery room was amazing, just everything perfect.
And so what's your biggest question about Michigan at this point, though?
Biggest question about Michigan is, I'll say, what's the season gonna look like? You know, practice look great, but you know, to get into a game and really do it is different. It's a different feeling, a different vibe. So, to see what the season gonna look like.
Which segues into the next part of the discussion. So, moving into the next phase, visits. What does your visit outlook look like the rest of the spring? And then, do you have all of your OVs picked out at this point?
No, I don't have all of my OVs picked out at this point, but I got a few more visits coming up, like Oregon. Y'all gonna hate this one, but Ohio State. So yeah, those two, Miami coming up, Syracuse, those schools coming up.
All right. So now, Michigan, obviously, having you up now was big for them. Has Michigan been able to set up an OV with you? And are you going to take an official visit to Michigan?
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the plan. Just sit down with me and my mom, talk about what's best for us. So, but definitely that's the plan.
Okay. So now, as far as your criteria, Messiah, for making a decision, let's set aside specific schools. I'm talking about generally speaking. When you get ready to pick a school, what are going to be the big factors in that choice? The biggest ones.
Okay. So if I had to give you three, I would say development. What school do I believe could develop me to be the best player I could be? I would say future success. What school do I think could set me up to be very successful after football in the future? And third, I would say scheme/player relation to the coaches. You know, you don't want to go to school. You and the coach only spoke 10 words to each other before you got there. You don't really know nobody. So I would say those three things.
Mm-hmm. What about NIL, man? I mean, that's some level of consideration in every recruitment. How big of a consideration will that be for you?
Yeah, NIL is definitely big and cool and stuff, but it's not one of the top things for me. You know, I don't believe money can buy happiness and all that stuff. So all this stuff got to fall into place for me to be happy. Then the money comes.
Mm-hmm. So now, you know, when you get ready or as you go out, I mean, there are things that you prioritize, and then there are the things that your people in your circle, your mom, I don't know who all makes up your tight circle, but you mentioned your mom and you mentioned your uncle. So I'll just say the closest people to you in your circle are sort of stressing that you look at. What are they saying to you the most that, hey, Messiah, I want you to look at and look for this? What are the things that they're pushing?
I'd say basically they a big relationship people. My mom, my dad, and my uncle, they basically, what school do they have a good relationship with the players?
Mm-hmm. So what do they think of Michigan?
Oh, they love Michigan. You know, my uncle, that's his favorite team. So they basically love Michigan, the coaches and everybody. They love being here.
Does he try to stack the deck for his home team, or does he put his fandom to the side?
Nah, he stacked the deck.
He's not even missing any words on that, huh? All right. So, what about timeline for making a decision? I mean, are you gonna push the decision out to like signing day? I mean, how are you gonna?
Yeah, I plan on committing in July. So.
You're gonna commit before the season?
Yes, sir.
All right. So that makes things interesting. So, you said, for instance, with regard to Michigan, you were going to you're looking at how things go in the season, but you're going to make the decision before the season.
Yeah.
So that makes your evaluation for them really a leap of faith.
Yeah.
At least as far as they're concerned.
Yes, sir.
I got you. All right. So last couple for you, Messiah. As you talk about the people who helped you get here, we talked about them a lot, your family. I want to give you the opportunity, as I did do with every guy here, to really shout them out, man, for helping you on this grind and on this journey. I tell you, put a lot of work in to get here, and it's a lot of work to still get to where you got to go. So it's your opportunity to really shout them out.
First, I want to thank God for putting these people in my life and giving me the opportunity to do this. I want to thank my mom, my dad, my sisters, my brothers, all of them. My brothers way in Florida, everybody. My cousins, my aunt, my grandma, my grandparents, all of them. They always supported me emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And then my homeboys like Nas, Ant, Ray, all them dudes, Styles, all them dudes, Irv, I could go way back, Jameer, Loyal, basically all these dudes that impacted my life a lot, helped me grow as a person, as a man, as a brother, all that stuff. And my coaches, without them I wouldn't be here. They put me in position to win, they helped me win, they trained me to win. And my CTC boys out there in Rochester, New York, all my dogs out there, those are my dogs. Can't wait to get back and see them. They supported me all the time. They always supported me, supporting from far right now because I'm way out here, but they rooting for me. They liking my story. They texting me right now, probably watching. I don't know, but them my dogs. I love them boys to death. So.
Yeah, man, that's love. Excited to really see you do your thing. We've only been able to watch the film, but if we want to come watch you in a game live, what would be a couple of games to come, like the best games to come see you do that during the season?
I'd say state championship game.
That's not on the schedule. But you're gonna be there.
Yes, sir.
My man calling his shot. But if there was a regular season game, a game that's actually on the schedule, what would it be?
I'd say East High School. That's like, so we all train in the same program called CTC. Okay. So that's literally like our brothers. We just go to two different schools. So it's kind of like a rivalry, but it's like a brotherly rivalry.
Okay. All right. We'll definitely put that one down for sure. Last but certainly not least, definitely want to give you the opportunity to you said you got Michigan as a school that you definitely still have to set an official visit to. Are there the remaining officials? Do you know what those schools are going to be? And then you just haven't set them up yet?
I have an idea.
But you don't want to say that yet?
I can say it.
Which is?
So, like, Miami and Oregon, we have those two locked in.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, right now for the other 2 weekends, we're looking at, like, Michigan, Ohio State, and I missed somebody, Michigan, and Syracuse.
Okay.
So.
All right. Messiah Hampton, man, it's been a great pleasure. Appreciate your grind, appreciate your game, and I'm a fan, man. So whatever you do, good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Messiah Hampton. And that'll do it for another edition of the Michigan Recruiting Insight.